our second supply or third supplier management lecture. It's the 6th of October, and today we're going to look at audits. Okay, supplier audits. Okay, so basically what we do here is we look at a process. Okay, this is you, supplier manager, looking at a certain process. Okay, for instance, a factory of your supplier, in order to measure or to know what is the current state of the process, and check what is the status of the current state as compared with the standard. Which is understood as being the best known process status, process state. Okay, I repeat, this is just a little pictogram to retain the concept, just like the Egyptians. Okay, I repeat with words. We, in the role of a supplier manager, make an audit or perform an audit, perform an audit to measure, and this measure is going to be important because there are different different types of audits depending on what you measure. To measure the current state of the process and compare it with a standard, which is a, let's say, desired state of the process. Okay, and this is really a process of the supplier. Okay. Really very general, but it helps understand what we're looking at. Okay? Questions? Make a blue eye. Questions, please? So the fact of the matter is that we can represent a process let's say we aim to measure the current state of a process, but a process is a complex reality that can only be explained with many key performance indicators, with many KPIs. If we visualize the process as a sphere, okay, the process as a three-dimensional sphere, we get following behavior. Let's say this is our process. Okay. We can look at this orange, okay, from an economic perspective. Look at it from an economic perspective. Let's say with the eyes of a controller. Economic. And then what we get is we measure, for instance, the product cost per unit. Right? Or we can measure the cash flow. Can somebody tell me what cash flow means? Hello? So I need you to get active here. Can somebody tell me what cash flow means? Come on, you're in the last semester of your studies. What is cash flow? Hello? Can somebody tell me what cash flow means, please? The amount of money moving in and out of the business. Yeah, that's quite good. Cash flow. If this is thank you. If this is let's say the money box of our business, there is money coming in, and money going out. So the cash flow is money coming in minus money coming out. Okay, this is very important. I don't know what's going on, why you don't answer just right away. Anyway, well, we can look at the process, let's say our factory, not from an economic point of view, but from a, let's say, quality point of view. Okay, and then our KPI is the parts per million. So how many defects do we have? Or we have the scrap rate. So all these KPIs we have seen in the past. So I assume you know them. If you don't know them, look at them and make sure you know them later. Okay. We can look also to the process from let's say a process perspective. Okay, and then we can look at the lead time. And we can look at how clean the process is, cleanliness. Or we can look at the flexibility, every part, every interval, pi. I don't know, many possibilities that should be known to you by now. Should be actually should be second nature to you, for you right now. Okay. So if we visualize the process as an orange, as a 3D sphere, we end up visualizing the fact that let me put a square also on the cash flow thing. There is no way, and this is important, okay? That's why I'm gonna put my little, I don't know why it turns white all the time. So there is no way to explain the whole variability of the process with only one KPI. Okay, so this is very important. It's impossible to explain the complete variability of a process with only one KPI, because you see, and this is a mistake often made by managers, you see the reason is that the processes are complex realities, so you have the people from production measuring the process will say that this orange is violet. The people from controlling will say that the orange is blue, and the people from the quality department are going to say are going to swear that the orange is orange. Okay, so they are all right and they are all wrong, And this makes management so difficult because processes are complex entities. Okay? Is this understood? I need to know if you understand this. It's a little bit abstract. Have any questions so far? So I am a little bit annoyed because you don't interact, you don't even answer my questions. Yeah, just then say, yes, I understood. Please, otherwise it's very difficult for me to know. I am sorry that this lecture is online as of now, but please answer, okay? Just a very short yes, it's just enough. And I don't know if I'm talking to somebody or you're there or not. So the only way to, because we cannot explain the whole variability of a process with only one KPI, the only way to know how we're doing is by looking at several KPIs. The only way to know that we're good is by looking at several KPIs, and by doing so we get to explain a fair amount of variability. Okay. We are looking at, I recall, we are looking for the delta between the desired state of the process minus the current state of the process. Okay. So we are going to, look at these deltas, or one way to look for these delta are audits. Okay, it's to perform an audit. And we are going to look at an example of an audit with order and cleanliness. Okay, but this is just an example. Many the audits happen the same way. So there is a process for the audit. That usually happens like this. Okay. Let me do a little pictogram again. So these are the audit documents. Let's say the instructions. Then you go and see the process. Okay, so you actually go to your supplier's site, go and see the process. Wait, let me do it differently. First the pictogram, go and see, go, issue, and see. So you go and see the process in Klama. You visit the site. So you jump in a plane and you go to Taiwan and you just visit your supplier for your chips. And that's what you do, okay, as a supplier manager. You travel and visit and know more about the process of your supplier than your supplier sometimes. The next step is to get the audit field. Okay, so first you have different elements in the supplier in the audit. The first document is usually a cover, usually standard. Okay. Where you put certain relevant information, then you get some hints. We will look at the example later, so it'll be very intuitive. Okay, some information that is relevant for the people taking part in the audit. After that, you get the body of the audit. Let's say the questions to be asked. Questions. Okay, and they can be many or few or I don't know. The questions to be asked. Okay. Number 3. As I said, I make first a little drawing so that later is easier to remember. But I guess you're used to my class already. Okay, so you're asking questions, and after you ask the questions, you go and you visualize the results. I guess we can make another. You visualize the results. This is kind of an important part to get all managers on the same page. It's not so pretty. Wait. So you visualize the results. And after visualizing the results, you perform what some of you know. You perform a continuous improvement effort. And you do that usually with a cpDNA. Not necessary to know that about what a cpDNA is, but it could help later on. So if you're interested, contact me. I can give you some links where it is explained. Or you can Google it, I guess. Okay, but most of you know CPD n times and then A. So this is just a continuous improvement. We use the results as a check part in the audit. Okay, so this is the audit process. And I guess this was one of the questions last year in the exam. Okay. Questions so far? You're cool? Everything all right? Now we're going to go and we're going to describe each step in detail. Okay? Questions? Guess you can follow. We are always, as I said in the beginning, you are the supplier management manager. You have this role. And then you are the audit leader. You're auditing your customer or your supplier, sorry. Okay. So let's start with the cover. How does it look like? Looks a little bit like this. It's a, let's say, a piece of paper. Oh man. Piece of paper. Where you have following information. You have information about the company. You know the date, the supplier. You know the department. You know when it begins, what time. You look at certain machine or department or workplace. You know where it ends, when it ends. You describe who is the audit leader with name, of course, and you leave some space for comments. Okay, very easy, let's say, piece of paper. Okay, so this is a piece of cake. Nothing very serious as of now. So the second thing you look at are the hints. Okay, this a certain set of instructions that you give to the people taking part in the audit. So hints or instructions. The first one is 2.1. Who does the audit? Okay. 2.11. An audit must be performed by at least 2 auditors. Okay, not only one. One must be from outside the process. So not a process internal auditor. And the auditors should be accompanied by the process owner. Okay, so the audit team is formed by 2 auditors. One needs to be external to the process, plus another guy who is the process owner of the process that is being audited. So if it's the factory manager or production manager or whatever. Okay? So this is the first. Who does the audit? Okay. And then the second thing that is important is to know that 2.1.2, the audit team should have both knowledge of the process as well as methodological auditor knowledge. So it is not enough to know about the process, but you also need to know how to be a trained auditor. Okay? This is important. Questions about this? Hello? Questions about this, please? No? Thank you. So the second point here, second hint, is 2.2. When do we perform the audit? So let's say 2.21, the audit should be performed while the process is running. Okay, so you go to the factory and you look at the factory actually working. 222, important, the audit takes place without previous notice. Okay, this is very important. So otherwise people prepare and they don't show the reality as is. Okay. This audit is usually locked or linked to money for the process owner. So if the goals are not achieved, then they get minus money. Okay, so this is why it's important for the people, and they usually prepare who, when, and then let's talk about the some important aspects for the team members. 2.3, important aspects for team members. Okay. 2.31, audit means training. In other words, audit means empowerment. We have seen that We cannot empower people without trust. This means that it needs trust within the people involved. If you are an auditor and then all the information that you get is used to destroy the performance or destroy the let's say the reputation of the process owner in the company, then you're going to lose trust. Okay, so we perform, there's a political side of this, very important. We perform the audit in order to ensure continuity of the continuous improvement process. In order to offer help to see the unseen. So very often when you are, let's say, a process owner and you are involved in a process, you stop seeing what you have in front of your eyes. Okay? So the auditor helps see what is in front of your eyes. We audit processes, not people. Not people. Important. Be hard on the thing, on the issue, but on the business, but soft on the people. We need to be very, very, very careful with information flow. So everyone involved is informed about the questions to be asked. We will look at the questions now, and how they are going to be evaluated. Okay. 2.3.4. The audit takes place with everyone present, or takes place, it's wrong English, is performed with every member of the team, of the audit team present. Remember the important aspect of trust. Okay, if you don't respect that, you don't get appropriate results. 2.3.5. In order to in the, let's say, order and cleanliness audit. We look everywhere. Okay. Also unter dem Teppich, also let's say beneath the carpet. We open closets, look for stuff hidden, and so on and so forth. Be careful with privacy, of course. 2.3.6. The evaluation of the questions must be objective. So always explain why. And 7, 2.3.7, the documents, the audit documents must be signed off and filled right away. This means on site, without timely delay. Okay, so these are some hints for the team members. You perform the audit following these hints, and then you have a good chance to have a successful empowerment. Any questions? No questions? Okay, so then we get to the part of the questions itself. So the, let's say the center of the, now it gets specific, okay, to, this is number 3, I guess. The other thing was number 2, number 1, and now we are here in the questions part, what we are going to ask and evaluate. Questions? So, and you can, let's say, remember these questions with 5S. Okay? 5S comes from Japanese. The first S is called Seiri. Sadie. Meaning to sort. Aussortieren. Okay. And in this part we sorting through all items in a location and removing all unnecessary items. Unnecessary means not being used from the workplace. Okay, so we go to the workplace and we look at the workplace with the worker, and then anything that is not being used should be removed from there. And this is the first part. This is the first step. It's called Sadie. Okay. By the way, you can do this audit if you wish. You can perform it in your own kitchen or in your own room. It doesn't have to be in an office or in a factory. Okay, so you can do this what we're gonna do now. You can perform it yourself, and you will see the effect. Actually, the best way to learn it would be to do that. So is Sadie clear? Yes, good. Well, I continue then with the second S. Okay. Second S. It's called Seiton. Okay, also Japanese, Seiton, which means set in order. Erstmal aussortieren und dann Ordnung schaffen. So we go and we say, will we put all necessary items in the optimal place for fulfilling their function. In the workplace. So anything that we are using and we need, we put in the perfect position so that we can access it properly. Okay. Satan, Sadie, and Satan. Then the third S, it's called Say So. And this is called cleaning. Putzen, okay? We clean and inspect the workplace. Tools and machinery regularly. Okay? We perform some cleaning. Keep our workplace clean, the kitchen or your room. Wherever you are performing your value creation. This is called Say So. The fourth S, it's called Seiketsu. Seiketsu, and it means standardize. Standardize. Okay, so once we know, once we have sorted out, once we have set in order, once we have cleaned, we standardize. So we standardize means standardize the process of 1S, 2S, 3S. Okay, so we start creating a process for cleaning and order. We do it, I don't know, every week or every month. And we do that with help of our CPD-NA. Okay, so here is the start of the CPD-NA. If you remember, our A is the standard. And the last, that's why it's called 5S. It's called Shitsuke. Shitsuke, which means sustain. Okay? Is the process of discipline. The root of all good qualities of the worker to keep the standard. So usually you will see following picture, which is a wrong picture. Okay, so whenever you see this picture, just raise your hand and say bullshit. Okay, so sometimes you see the continuous improvement process picture like this, a ball with the guile with a piece of wood there, so that this means the standard, meaning that the continuous improvement going up the hill is just the effort, but keeping the standard is not the effort, because this is just dynamic. Okay? So this is fundamentally wrong. This is wrong because it gives the impression that I need some battery, wait. It gives the impression that it's loading now, yeah, that the continuous improvement takes no effort to keep. Okay, because we have here a standard that is just a piece of wood that can be placed there and nothing happens. So the reality, however, is like this. You have one process here, and then you are the process owner. One process here, you're the process owner, and you're pushing all the time. Okay, this is the process owner. This is the process. You're pushing all the time to get the process better. You get the process better with continuous improvement. With a lot of effort. So this is the improvement. But just to keep the status, the new status, takes energy. Okay? Just to keep the new standard, which is placed here just as before, okay? Standard takes energy. Okay? This is the process. Let's improve. So whenever, if you try to, let's say, clean your room, if you try to clean your room and then you're super happy with your room being cleaned, and you do nothing for the rest of the year, and you think the room is going to stay clean, or things are going to get dirty with time. Just to keep the room clean takes energy, and it's not little energy. Just to keep it clean, just to keep the new standard, takes energy. That's why I paint a guy there, the process owner, who is just sweating just to keep the new standard. Okay, does it make sense? Hello? Okay, so if this is understood, make sure you read this information today. Okay, I send you right now the PDF, because tomorrow we're going to look at all the questions, and this was part of the exam last year. We're going to make an example. And tomorrow we're going to look at the questions, and I am going to ask you to perform this at a place of your choice. You can do it at home, in your kitchen, in your room. You can do it in a workplace if you're working. You can do it with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your friends, in the park, whatever. I don't care, but I want an example of these questions being asked. I want you to make pictures before, after, and so on and so forth. So we will look at that tomorrow. Make sure you study this information for today, okay? So that you can internalize it. And I mean, it's not difficult, but make sure you look at it. And tomorrow we will make an example of this, and I will give you some homework, okay? I guess, I don't know if there are questions. If there are no questions, I guess I'm done.